Welcome to Euclid Public Library's virtual program. My name is Jean Robinson. I'm the Communications and Multimedia Specialist for the library. And today's program will get you into a holiday mood. The subject is Ukrainian Easter egg decorating. Our special guest today is Linda Hupert, and she is the main teacher at the Museum of Pysanky. Welcome to our virtual program, Linda.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into this traditional art.
I learned how to do this in a Ukrainian youth group when I was about 8 years old, and then we didn't do it again. But then when I was in high school, a couple of friends and I thought we would try to do this, and we got together, and I and another girl did two really nice ones. And my third friend, she got bored with it and she started decorating jelly beans. We laugh about it to this day and we're still friends. But during college, when I came home for Easter break, I kept doing it. When I finished college, I wanted to learn more about it. And I took an adult evening class in Parma, and the lady told me I didn't belong there. She says, there's no reason she said there was no reason for me to be there. She goes, you already know what you're doing. She goes, one of these days you're going to be better than me. You don't need this class. And I says, but I wanted to learn more. And the only thing out there was books. And so I started getting as many books. And there was a few books published by Ukrainian Gift Shop in Minneapolis. And every time they published a book, I would buy it. And that's how I learned. But today, there's the power of the internet. That's how you guys are seeing me now. But there's lots of Facebook groups out there. And with the power of the internet, I now have friends all over the world who are making pysanky. And the word pysanky comes from the Ukrainian word pisate, which means to write. And I'm not painting. I'm writing a design with beeswax, and then I put the egg into different colors of dye and continue to wax as with a progression of each of the colors of dyes. And I actually am a teacher at the Ukrainian Museum and Archives in Tremont. That's where I've been teaching for almost 30 years now. But I'm only a child now, I'm only 29, so.
Oh, that's fascinating. So how do you get started with this? What is the first thing you do?
I actually going to get started because as every painter does, they actually sketch most of them do at least. So I'm going to get started, and I'm actually going to divide this egg. This is a clean white egg, and it is raw. The egg yolk is still in there. I will empty the egg at the end. And so I'm going to divide this egg into half. And this is where I started doing this in high school after I finished geometry with straight A's. And I always say that I'm not a trained artist, but I got straight A's in geometry. So then I'm going to divide the egg into 4 lengthwise sections. And here comes the geometry. I tell everybody when I teach them, we're doing perpendicular lines. And now what I'm going to do, I'm now going to divide this at the hemisphere. And I find this on the line, the halfway point between them, and I connect these. I do a lot of connect the dots. Instead, it's so much easier than trying to just draw a straight line around. So with most Ukrainian designs, until you get to the fancy newer designs, which is batik, if you take a Ukrainian pysanky and you divide it in half, it's symmetrical. So you will have the same design on the front as you do on the back. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an 8-pointed star. The star is a symbol of light. So in order to get a perfect 8-pointed star, if I would just sit there and try and draw a star, I'm not going to be able to do that on my own because, as I said, I'm not an artist. I can do geometry. So I'm going to take this front and I'm going to divide this into a pie. I draw little dots on the line in a circle. Okay, and then out here in space, about 1/4 of an inch in between the lines in a circle, I'm going to draw my dots. I'm going to connect the dots. I'm going to go from a line out to the dot out in space and come back down to the next dot. And there's the point of my star.
Pencil you use?
I use a mechanical pencil. So that was Yeah, I like to use a mechanical pencil. If you erase with the eraser, it leaves a mark on the egg and the dyes won't take. So I tell everybody right off the bat, you have a pencil there with no eraser. So I tell them right off the bat. These are what's called kistas, K-I-S-T-K-A. And this is, I have several different versions of them. Basically is you heat it up, you scoop wax into, and I have colored beeswax. You scoop it up in there, you heat it again, and you start to write on the egg. And now I'm going to follow the exact same lines that I drew in pencil, and I start to write. So basically, everywhere where I'm writing with the kiska, where the wax is going, that is going to stay white.
So how long does it usually take you to do an egg?
For me, some of them take 3 to 5 to 7 hours on a chicken egg.
Wow.
Okay, now I have both sides done with the yellow teardrop. The next color is green, and green is such a strong color that I do not put it in the green dye. So I get a brush. This is the only painting that I do.
You can still see it, right?
So basically you put the design on with the dye that you want, not
The design, what causes the design is the wax.
Wax, you were right.
Okay.
And then you
So
dip
I'm
it.
going to do a little green dot at the end of these. And I can be sloppy with the dye. What's going to matter is how I put the wax on. Oh, you guys can't see it. Let me get a little closer in.
Bring it
My
down.
candle out of the way a little. There we go.
There we are. So you paint the dye on.
Just the green.
They blow it out, maybe.
Just the green, because I don't dip the egg into the dye.
Oh, I see.
So much for the green. While it's going to be sitting in the next color into the orange, I'm going to show you a few of my eggs.
Six to 7 hours.
Okay, so now I'm covering with the green with wax, and I'm just covering a little dot there. It's not going to be a lot of green.
So what you're covering will stay green.
Right. So right now I have white lines, I have yellow teardrops, and green little dots. Give me salad. Okay. Next color, it's going into orange. And you guys like my jars of dye? Anybody know what these are? You can see, let's see if we can see it in here. Talenti. Talenti gelato. I saved for several years to get these.
Do the colors have different symbolism to them?
Yeah, I do, but I forgot what they are. I don't. These colors I have right here that I'm using come from a company called Ukrainian Gift Shop out of Minneapolis. They have about 15 colors. There's a company out of Canada, Ukrainian Egg Accessories, has about 25 colors. And then there's Pysanky USA out of, it was in Pennsylvania. The gentleman who owned it passed away from COVID. Well, he had a whole lot of other issues, and then he caught COVID and passed away. But one of my really good friends, she ended up buying the company, and she moved the company to Vermont. And Pysanky USA has 85 different colors.
Wow.
So there's a lot of different colors out there. Okay. We're gonna go a little bit. Okay. Now I'm doing this with a depleted supply of eggs.
Mhm.
Okay. Here's one kind of that I talked to you about, like on the angle where I told you the pie.
Mhm.
So this is from the pie design. This is kind of what I did on an angle. Okay. And this is actually a rotating, going around. Okay. And the circles,
Mhm.
these are done not with a template, but I actually did it with, I don't see it. Yes, I did. I actually use, this is my measuring tool.
Mhm.
This is kind of, this is kind of a yucky one, but I actually take the center and I take, and I mark, like, let's say this one's like 2 inches out. And then I move it and draw a line and move it and draw a line and move it and draw a line, move it and draw a line or a spot around. And that's how I make a circle.
Wow.
I use this sometimes to make the width of my bands, my little piece of notebook paper, those little notebooks. But this is my wonderful measuring tool that that I have a ton of them floating around. So that's kind of the star. This is a different variation of the star. It's an 8-pointed star. Again, the star is used in so many different patterns, different ways in the eggs. The lines, there's no beginning and there's no ending, symbolizes eternity. Okay, let's check on our orange egg here. Oh, good, nice and orange. Sometimes the orange has to take a little bit longer. All depends on the egg. And the best place that I get my eggs from for pysanky is from Sam's Club.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have, I hear, I got a lot of friends who say they go, I used to do this years ago, so I'm not going to complain, because I used to go to a grocery store by me and I would stand there and I'd pick through the dozens of eggs and, and move them around so I would get the best eggs with no, with no flaws on them, no bumps on them. And I used to have a grocery store by where I lived, and every year I would give the guy a pysanky so he would let me pick through his eggs.
Wow.
But Sam's Club gets their eggs from Sauter's Farm, which is Amish country, and they have these 3 dozen packs, 18 eggs and 18 eggs, 2 layers, and out of those 3 dozen packs, I can usually almost use all of them for pysanky, and that's really unusual, because if you go to the regular grocery store and look at an 18 pack of eggs, you're lucky if you can get 5 or 6 eggs out of that, because of the way they handle and eggs and the way that what they feed the eggs. Okay, we're gonna continue on here. So now what I'm gonna do is these feather lines. On each of these lines here.
Does that symbolize something?
What was it?
The feathering, is that symbolic of something?
Probably, but it's one of those that I don't remember. I know, like ladders, there's sometimes you'll have like 2 little lines, vertical, 2 little vertical lines and little across. It makes like a ladder, and that symbolizes going to heaven. So you would have an egg with some ladder designs on it, and if somebody passes away, you would give that to the family, or you would, bury a person with an egg like that.
See.
I buried my mom and my dad with a pysanka. Each one of them has one. My father also has a deck of cards and a pack of cigarettes and a lighter. Because heaven forbid he wouldn't have cigarettes, with him when he's he's up there. And he's got to have playing cards and to play with his buddies up there. And right now, the pysanka right now is April 1st was pysanka for Ukraine Day, and that's been started. The lady who owns Ukrainian Accessories in Canada, several years ago, she started that day for people who make pysanka to write pysanka on that day and to pray for peace in Ukraine. And that was started just a few years, it was started probably about 2015, 16, after the first time Ukraine was invaded by Russia when the war first started. And so Ukraine's been, it's been fighting the war since 2014. And it's hard. The fable or the thought of writing pysanka, the more that the pysanka is written, the more peace will prevail and evil will be defeated. So since February, the pysanka writers that I know have been writing pysanka like crazy. Every Sunday I'm on a Zoom call. I'm not on it, but there is a Zoom call, and people that are on it are from all over the world. We had a weekend marathon in, I think, the weekend of March 25th, around there, and that was from Saturday morning till Sunday at 5 o'clock. And that allowed people like from Japan to be on it. So it was a 30-hour marathon. While this is going on in war, there are a couple of pysanka writers in Ukraine that are having classes on Zoom calls. So they're teaching via Zoom. So there's still people trying to write. What most of us consider the best pysanka writer in the world is Ol Kirishchuk. In 2014, when the first invasion happened, he left his, he lives in Kolomea. He left where the Pysanka Museum. He left that town and he went to fight for 2 years, and then he came back. He is now fighting again instead of writing beautiful pysanka. So we all pray for him, because it would be horrible to lose such a talent. Okay, this just went into red. It's beautiful. Red is always such a beautiful color.
Oh, that is beautiful.
It's such a shame that I have to cover part of it. But it will turn out beautiful in the end. How much time do we have? Oh, we have plenty of time.
7:08.
Got plenty of time.
You're just rocking
Okay.
and rolling this.
I have white lines, yellow teardrops, green dots, orange feather lines, and now I'm going to cover this entire star with wax. And I'm going to use a different kiska now. I'm going to cover that entire star with wax. And I'm gonna make it ugly.
But you'll have a lot of red in this one.
Yeah. There'll be a lot of red. You noticed I never did fill the other kiska anymore with
That's
wax.
true, you didn't.
The entire thing that I wrote, there was enough wax in there. The wax pretty much goes a long way. Once the kiska is conditioned, and there's a buildup of wax in there, you only have to fill it up a little bit. And I'm gonna cheat here in the middle. Put it on its side to cover up a big area. This is what you got to do when you want to get a lot done. Does anybody have any questions?
What designs seem to be the most popular?
What design?
Mhm.
Right now, and I'm going to show it in a little bit. I only have like one left. Right now, it's popular as anything that's done in the blue and yellows, or anything with sunflowers.
Mm.
The sunflower is the Ukrainian national flower, and probably the sunflower. I don't know if any of you have seen the one story about the Ukrainian grandmother who had sunflower seeds in her pocket, and she gave it to a Russian soldier. And she says, put those in your pocket, because when you die, and your body's left there, that sunflowers will grow, from your body. And so that's just been, because used to be poppies were prevalent in Ukraine, but they stopped allowing poppies from being grown in Ukraine because of the opioid, opioid, I can't even say it, opioid problem.
Yeah.
And that's, all the little grandmothers used to make poppy seed roll all the time.
Uh-oh.
And they couldn't do it anymore because they weren't allowed to raise poppies.
Yeah.
So sunflowers became the prevalent flower for Ukraine. And I was supposed to leave for Ukraine on Monday or Tuesday. I hadn't decided out which day I would left. I was going to go on a pysanka tour to Ukraine with 25 pysanka artists. And we were supposed to fly into Lviv and then go into several villages to actually study with several different pysanka artists, including Oleg Kidishchuk, the one I had just told you about, the best pysanka artist in the world. And there was every year. This year, Orthodox Easter is a week after ours, and the week after Orthodox Easter, they always have a pysanka festival in Kolomea, and that's where the Pysanka Museum is in Ukraine. And we were supposed to go 2 years ago, but of course, a little thing called COVID kind of delayed us. So we delayed it 2 years, and now a bigger thing called
Oh,
invasion has delayed us again. But for 2 years ago, Kathy, again, from Ukrainian Accessories, had worked with the tour company and reached out to pysanka artists all over the United States and Canada. And people, the artists were allowed to send up to 3 pysanka to her in the Ukrainian Museum in Toronto, and they submitted the pysanka, and there was places that some people had written books and all sorts of things, paraphernalia, whatever, and it was sent all in one, 2 big crates to the Ukrainian Museum in Kolomea. And part of our tour was we were going to be part of the opening of the North American exhibit of pysanky at the Pysanky Museum. And that has obviously been delayed, and now it's been delayed a second time. So they're waiting to open that exhibit until we get there. They have put everything in, I don't know where everything, and actually everything, they took everything out of the museum. They just remodeled the museum, and they've taken everything out and put into storage someplace to protect everything that was in the museum in case they get bombed there. They haven't been bombed in that town yet. So far, the West has been pretty safe, but.
Now, you have relatives in the Ukraine?
I do. I was planning on staying an extra week. I have a second cousin. My first trip there was, and only trip, was about 16 years ago. So I got to see Ukraine, and it's a beautiful, beautiful country, just like how beautiful the United States is. Okay, so we have pretty ugly eggs so far, huh? I have to check to make sure I have everything covered, because that little nasty little black dye will seep through anywhere it can. Yeah, see?
We have about 15 minutes.
We're almost done. It's actually going into its last color. So while it's in its last color, I will show you guys a few more eggs, because it will take a little bit longer in the last color.
Now, the last color will be the darkest color?
It will be, yes, black.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And I was just talking about poppies. So here's a poppy. And actually the front, I this year I haven't done a lot of poppies, but the front page of my website is a tray of poppies. So I really enjoy doing a lot of poppies.
Beautiful.
So one of my favorites too. And again, the stars. This is the parallel lines I was talking about, the parallel band I was talking about before. And here's a couple that have the band. I was talking about a barrel design. Now, let's see this. This is done in blues. Just have to get it the right place.
We can see it right there.
There we go. So this one's done in blues, okay? And this one is done in a pink and amethyst. I love the amethyst. It was a new color that Kathy came out with. But if you really take a close look at this, these two are the exact same design. Okay.
They are.
They are, yeah. If you look at them, and I mean, unless I told you that, you probably wouldn't have thought that they were the exact same design, but they are the exact same design, just done in two completely different colors. And they both look just absolutely, just beautiful, just done a little bit differently. But they're the exact same design. Here's another, I just did a star design. Here's another variation of a star design. Started off with a smaller star, and then just kind of made it look almost like a, what is it, a mandala?
Yeah, it does. And those lines are so perfect.
That is done with the electric Kiska. So, and this is again, it's the white, pink, and the amethyst. Just three colors, and just can turn out so beautiful.
So what do you enjoy most about doing this?
when I used to be a guest artist at Disney World.
Oh, really?
I was a guest artist at Epcot, and for about 8 years for different festivals. And I used to tell people it kept me from beating the dog and the husband, not necessarily in that order. Patience. I'm truly not a patient person, and this is like zones me in. You know, I get into a Zen mood, and I don't clean the house. So, but these are is it blue and yellow. This one here has the trident, the Ukrainian. It's an ancient symbol. Goes back to I had several others, but it's an ancient symbol of goes back to ancient times, to prior to 988, when Ukraine turned to Christianity. This one I kind of incorporated the blue and yellow flags. So these are probably what I have. One more to show that's is showing the blue and the yellow. I not this past weekend, the weekend before, I did the Ukrainian Museum bazaar, and I had 11 eggs that I made. That total sales from those were donated to the Ukrainian Maidan Association. So that was to go to Ukraine. Here's another one I did with a sunflower.
Oh,
So
that's lovely.
that's the only sunflower I have left. I had several more. And then this is a completely different egg, and it's different on 2 points, because this one was done, number one, on a brown egg, and number two, it's a trillium design. Okay, and it's basically would in white, brick, and black. And these designs, if you look, they kind of look like they're Indian designs, Western Indian, and you know, like the Mayan type designs. This is actually based on pottery designs. They weren't done on eggs, but on pottery designs from a time period of dating civilization that was discovered from trilliums that date back to 2,000 to 5,000 BC. And the thing about this civilization in Ukraine, and it stretches between Romania, Ukraine, and I'm not exactly sure how far east then, is that they had 2-story houses, and that was unheard of. And the Mayans were in about 700-800 AD. So this was based on pottery. And then the Ukrainian gift shop, the woman there, she's the one who started to carry the patterns onto eggs, and it just snowballed. Here's another one I have. This one was done on a white egg, but you can see they're just kind of flowy, what's the word, embryonic type designs. I teach this class at a retreat. I was at the retreat. Well, Pysanky used to have a retreat in Pennsylvania before the person passed away there. Somebody's kind of semi-taken it over and moved it to Rochester. My friend of mine and I do have a retreat in October. We've kind of taken over one from Arkansas, where the lady retired there, and so hers we've kind of moved to Berea, Ohio. I teach at the Ukrainian Museum in Tremont before Easter. I've been their teacher there for close to 30 years.
Do you teach throughout the year or only around Easter?
No, I just before Easter, and I don't have the facility to do it at home. I just don't have the room. But at the museum, I've done demos, and I've had classes at home. People brought me. I've done what is it? Bachelorette parties. I've done birthday parties.
That's a different twist.
Yeah. Yeah, I have. It was like one weekend I did, it was like Friday night was a bachelorette party. I did, the mother's home, and then that was the Friday night, and they had food and drinks, and then Saturday night, they went out. So it was fun. Everybody had a great time. Okay, this came out. Oh, you can't see it because I'm putting it. Where am I?
There it is.
There it is. Okay, looks pretty ugly. It looks like just a black egg. Okay, but trust me, there's white lines, there's yellow teardrops, there's green dots, orange feather lines, and a red star. And okay, she's gonna make this look beautiful, right?
And that's a candle.
Huh?
That's a candle. Yeah.
I should do this off to the side so you guys don't see what I'm doing.
Okay. Now, what is this? What's happening here?
What's happening? Making it look beautiful. See, this is what I always do. I don't let anybody see what I'm actually really doing.
So it's melting the wax.
Yep.
It's like an unveiling.
Yes. See, I'm not letting you guys see it until I get the one side melted off.
The suspense.
The suspense, yes. I do this at all even when I do in-person demos, I do the same thing. They don't get to see it until I have one side melted off.
Big finale.
Everybody's like, hurry up, hurry up. Now, right now it is full. If I'm working on a full egg, usually this is the stage I will empty it. What I do is I put like a quarter-size blob of wax at the bottom, and then I drill a hole and I'll empty it then. Lately, I've been working on a lot of empty eggs, and so I have to plug up the hole before I work on it, because I don't want the egg dye to get inside the egg.
So that's
and you work on different size eggs. I like to work either on chicken eggs or goose eggs, but I have worked on turkey eggs too. Turkey eggs pretty good, nice, but I'm not a fan of duck eggs. Duck eggs are very, very temperamental on taking the dye.
What about ostrich eggs?
I have worked on ostrich. They take a lot more time to do.
Really?
I have actually made
larger.
an ostrich egg and turned it into a purse. I cut it, and in the inside I put like weights in it and lined it in velvet and finished the outside with with trim, to make it look nice. But of course I wouldn't sell that thing because that took me way too long.
Of course. Yeah.
I think my record time of ever doing an ostrich egg is there was a family of brothers and sisters that wanted to do something for their mother's 80th birthday. And they were hemming and hawing of deciding whether they were going to get an egg. And they gave me like a week to get it done. And it was like, I know, it was like not, then they finally decided they were going to do it. And it wasn't even a week. I think I ended up like 24 hours. Not straight 24 hours, but I got it done like in two or 3 days done. And I spent like 24 hours, and that was fast to get it done. It takes a long time to do. There's a lot of work on an ostrich egg.
Well, it's a lot of little details to the designs. It's very intricate. But I can see the design coming through now.
Oh, yeah, you can. I am almost there. Okay. Yeah. There it is. Okay. Move this out of the way. Here we have all the wax.
Ooh.
And there's the white lines, the yellow teardrops, the green dots, orange feather lines, and the red star.
Wow.
Ta-da!
Wow, that is gorgeous.
Go from that to that.
Lovely.
Wow. That is amazing. Does anyone have any questions before we wrap it up? Okay, well, thank you, Linda. This has been fascinating, seeing the process from the
You're
beginning to
welcome.
the grand unveiling at the end. Thanks so
Mhm.
much for showing this to us. And if you would like to see some of Linda's masterpieces, we have a few of her eggs in the library, in the lobby, and it will be in the display case for the rest of this week. So stop by the library and check it out. And also, thank you for joining us in this virtual program today. You can find other upcoming virtual programs by going to our website, which is euclidlibrary.org. So thank you for tuning in and have a great evening.
You're welcome. And happy Easter to everybody.
Happy Easter.
Christos Voskras.